Hi, Liberators. This is Tiffany Coleman once again with another episode of Interesting People. And today I have a friend of mine on the show today. She is a physician assistant, and she works in family practice, turned producer and screenwriter from New York City. Her career in medicine first inspired her first project. It's a digital series called Rhonda Mithcell MD, which we will get to a little bit later. I want to present to some and introduce to others Mrs. Carolyn Pierre-Outlar.
Hey,
Thank you so
hey,
much for being here
thank you.
today.
Of course, of course. Thank you for
So,
having me.
absolutely, it was a no-brainer. You were one of the few that I was like, we have to have her on the show to talk about the current state of
Mm,
things and where we are right now.
mm.
So I wanted to make sure I got you involved in this project in some way, shape, or form.
Sure,
Um,
yeah,
so I'm just grateful you said yes.
absolutely, absolutely.
So we're going to
Abs-
jump right in here. I kind of want to get some of the medical stuff out of the way so that we can talk about
Sure,
fun stuff.
yeah.
Um, as you are aware, as everybody else is, we are in the middle of a pandemic, a
Mhm,
global pandemic
mhm,
with COVID-19. And so just kind of wanted to get a medical professional's perspective. What
mhm.
is COVID-19 and what are the facts that we need to know about
Mhm.
this virus?
Sure. So COVID-19 is what's classified as a coronavirus. And coronaviruses normally cause, your common cold.
Mm-hmm.
But when they say this is a novel coronavirus, it's because it's a strain of the virus we've never seen before.
Okay.
And so with viruses, they usually cause a whole range of symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have a virus that's presenting itself for the first time, it's kind of like it's difficult to get a hold of it because it can morph into anything and affect any part of the body. And so, I mean, because we've been behind from the beginning.
Mm.
The best thing to do to kind of like prevent the transmission of it is the things that we have been doing: social distancing,
Mm-hmm.
hand washing, um, just being really rigorous when it comes to your hygiene, hand hygiene, and just being mindful, of trying not to spread the virus. But I mean, hopefully, I hopeful that we'll have a vaccine or some sort of treatment for it, and I'm hoping that it doesn't continue to morph, and that we don't start to see new symptoms arise from it,
Mm. Mm.
because you don't know. And the thing is, everyone is different, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's DNA is different, and so the virus affects people differently, and so what you don't want is someone whose DNA has never come across this virus to kind of have a manifestation that's like, oh my God, it can do this too. Like
Mm.
the latest thing is the multi-system inflammatory disease, which we see in kids, which mimics another illness called Kawasaki's, which is like this kind of like inflammatory illness that can cause heart trouble. And
Mm.
so when
In
kids started
children.
in children, and when
Oh
kids started
no.
showing up with rashes and conjunctivitis, just signs of like this diffuse, like into whole body inflammatory reaction. At first they didn't think it was the coronavirus, they didn't
Mm-hmm.
think it was COVID-19, and then we started to see a pattern. And when we started testing and seeing that, wait, these patients are positive for coronavirus and they're having all these similar symptoms, now we know that it can cause this in children.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's, I'm glad that New York has seen a reduction in numbers. I'm
Yeah.
sad that other places have seen an increase, but we know how to kind of control it. And that's the only thing we can do, since we don't really have a treatment or a vaccine to prevent it.
Okay. Now, that actually leads to quite a few questions, but the one question I really want to ask is there's so much information going around on the internet. I see the internet sometimes as a blessing and a curse. And so there are people out there who believe that this is a hoax, that it's not real. Is this a real thing? Is this a hoax? Are we being too are we overreacting to this?
Mm-mm. No, it's real. I actually
Okay.
had a patient today that I saw that I sent to the ER. He's one of the worst. He was 20 years old, and he's one of the worst suspected cases that I've seen. And we didn't have testing on site for him. We don't have like rapid point of care testing.
Hmm.
Um, but he was lethargic, had a fever, body aches, and I had to send him to the emergency room. So no, it's not a hoax.
Mhm.
This is a real thing. We've seen it before with SARS. We've seen it before with MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome.
Mhm.
We've seen it before with H1N1, with the swine flu.
Yeah.
Um, so these viruses that pop up every few years, in those cases, we were better prepared. We had a different administration. We had a different team to stay ahead, that was there to stay ahead
Yeah.
of these things. And unfortunately, with the current state of affairs and the administration we fell behind. And so now
Mm.
we're trying to play catch up. But this could have been Ebola. Had,
Right.
the current administration that we have now been in office back then, this would have been Ebola. We would have
Mm.
been, so
Mm.
no, it's real.
Mhm.
It's real. It's not a hoax. Just,
Mhm.
we have an administration that really dropped the ball
Mm.
and really didn't know how to handle it, and is not even fully staffed, to be honest. So,
Mm.
it
Mm.
was just a
Yeah.
perfect storm for something like this to happen.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
So, earlier on, you mentioned hand washing and social distancing.
Mhm.
What are other measures that we can take as just
Mhm.
people, to protect ourselves from
Just
this virus?
avoiding, don't touch your nose, your eyes, any point of entry uh, for the virus. You have to be aware. Like, and that's hard for me because I'm one, like, I have anxiety. So I'm like,
Mhm.
those people, and I like, even I, as a healthcare professional, have to fight myself because my first instinct when I get stressed and I'm seeing patients and I'm like, oh, my first instinct is to do this. You don't want to do this.
No.
Want to do this. You don't
No.
want to do this. And it's allergy season, people. So
Yes.
if you got to treat all of that, because if your eyes are itchy, your nose is runny or whatever, and you're out, and next thing you know, you do this, bad. So
Yeah.
make sure you take care of that as well. That's something else I want to bring up. Any underlying issues that you have, take
Okay.
care of those. Because this, God forbid, if you come in contact with this, it could just exacerbate and cause like this whole snowball effect.
Oh,
So if you
wow.
have any underlying issues, please manage them. If you have asthma, please manage your asthma. Please control your asthma. Because what you
Okay.
don't want is uncontrolled asthma and then a virus that affects your respiratory system.
Gotcha.
So just take care of any underlying issues. The gloves that people I've seen wearing,
Uh-huh.
their gloves,
Okay.
as a healthcare professional, I know that you can cross-contaminate very easily with gloves. You would basically you can't have one pair of gloves and go out and stay with the same pair of gloves all day long.
Okay.
So if you put on a pair of gloves, you go out and say like you're holding the handrail on the train, you would have to then take off your gloves, put on a new pair of gloves, then go into your purse and pull out your wallet to pay for the coffee that
Yeah.
you'd have to, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if they give you change back, then you'd have to change your gloves again, put on a new pair of gloves, then go to work, So, I mean, the gloves don't really matter much if you're doing the hand washing and if you can't wash your hands, at least a hand sanitizer, and you're doing that regularly,
Gotcha.
that's the
Gotcha.
most important thing.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Just so we know, you gave some really great information, and I want to recap as well. We have a critter in the background. Carolyn has two dogs that I
I
love
do.
dearly. that I'm going to kidnap one day.
That no, you're not kidnapped.
I'm not
I'm gonna pay you.
kidnapping. Oh, she's paying. Oh
I'm
God.
gonna pay you to
Yes.
take them. You just let me know
Gotcha.
how much you want to give me.
Have to
Okay.
know.
No offer is too small. All offers will be entertained. Just let me know. Just let me know. Let me know.
So I have
two for.
I have puppies, guys.
It's 7:00, so at 7:00 they always do the cheering for the essential workers and stuff. So they're part of that team too.
Yeah. Oh,
they're cheering for mommy. They're cheering for mommy.
Love it. I love it. I'm in full support, so I'm okay with the barking. The barking is symbolic, guys. So just kind of a quick recap. That you said gloves are not necessarily necessary.
No, I think people may end up doing more harm than good with the gloves. So just because of cross-contamination, you may touch something, even if there's a chance that it has the virus on it.
Yeah.
Inanimate object, you touch it, and if you're not cognizant that you just touched something, now you transmit it somewhere else.
You're right.
Where it wasn't before.
Okay.
Like I said, you have to constantly be changing your gloves. And when you go out and you have these gloves on and you're touching, make sure you go and sanitize. You have to sanitize your wallet. You have to sanitize the card, the debit card that you pulled out, your Metro card then. Like everything that came in contact with those gloves, basically, you would have to sanitize. So instead of the gloves, I just use the hand sanitizer when I'm on the go. The hand sanitizer. I try not to touch to avoid contact with any inanimate objects and surfaces. If I can, if it's not possible, then I carry hand sanitizer. And I'll just do like a hand sanitizer when I'm able. When I get to work, the first thing I do is wash my hands. When I get home, the first thing I do is wash my hands.
All right.
So when you're able to wash your hands for that first time after you've been out, make sure that's the first thing you do before you do anything else.
Okay.
And 30 seconds, get in there, get the nails, you can get the nails and between your fingers, the web spaces and all of that.
Yes. Even the wrist too.
the wrist.
Yeah.
All of that. Yes. Yes. Very important.
I sing the Golden Girls theme song. That's my song. For my hand washing, because I know my counting will be off, but I know for sure that's 30 seconds because I timed it.
That's right.
Do I watch the Golden Girls a lot? That's none of your business. Anyway. So that's good info. Because I am one who wears gloves when I go out, but it does kind of help me to see, one, because it's allergy season, like you brought up, and I think you gave some really good pointers about making sure we manage those symptoms as well. How that is helpful in making sure we don't get COVID-19. But also I have eczema breakouts on my hand. And that causes open sores and stuff. So is it reasonable to wear gloves but in that instance, or should I just not wear them, sanitize, and move on?
Well, the thing is that COVID, the way it's transmitted is transmitted through mucosal surfaces. So like the oropharynx, the mouth, throat, the mucous membranes in the nose, the eyes. Those are the surfaces that really are prone to transmission. What you don't want is to get an infection, right? So it's also an important point to make. So a lot of with the hand washing, and even I suffer from eczema. And the more you wash your hands, if you have eczema, the more eczema they call it the itch that rashes. So what will happen is you'll start scratching it, and then you'll develop the rash, and it's an endless cycle. So what I do also is I carry plug Aquaphor.
Today's episode is brought to you by Aquaphor.
Aquaphor.
I want my check.
But you need something like really like really thick and emollient. So I prefer like Aquaphor. If you don't have Aquaphor, Neutrogena has a great hand cream that's very the Neutrogena hand cream is very thick. And
Gold Bond?
Like that. Gold Bond is fine as long as is it like an ointment type, or is it just a cream?
It's not an ointment. It's like a really thick cream that I use.
That may work. Yeah, that may work. You gotta moisturizing is key. And try to wash your hands. I don't know if they have if you have like a hand wash that also has like aloe in it or something in it
To soothe it. Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
But every time you wash, because that started happening to me, because I'm like relentless with the hand washing and between the hand sanitizer, the alcohol, and the hand washing. Every time you got to moisturize.
Okay.
So yes, thank you for bringing that up. That's actually an important point. That you may not get COVID through the skin, but you are at risk of other bacterial infections, like MRSA and all of that. So yeah,
gotcha.
Take care of that.
So to avoid COVID, make sure you stay away from all the mucousy membranes and stuff that are in your face.
Of course, yes.
Okay, and then just take care of your hands, moisturize, wash consistently.
If you have any sores, you should cover them if you can.
Okay.
If a Band-Aid is not large enough, then you can have, they have the big the patches, the Band-Aid patches. You can use that. And then your last resort, you could use gloves, but it should be protected, especially if you have any ulcerations, any open sores on your hands. Whenever you're going out, make sure you're protected. At home, you could leave it open to air.
Right.
But when you go out, make sure those surfaces are covered.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Okay, now where's my consult? Okay. Where's my copay?
I asked you to be on the show, Carolyn, and I sent you the questions. So what are you talking about?
I love you. No, anyway, I love it. No.
I'm a serious interviewer, Carolyn. I will not be disrespected on my show.
I'm sorry. Proceed. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Oh my God. Anyway, can't work under these conditions. Okay. Anyway, okay. So there, masks are a thing. And it's, and so there are so many people who are just like, I saw a video today about how they're telling us to wear masks is infringement upon our rights, and God is not pleased with you ordering mandates about masks, and masks are bad for your health, and this, that, and the third. Can you help us dispel some of this stuff? Are masks bad for your health? Do you breathe in carbon dioxide?
Let me tell you something. The masks that you have, most of these masks that are out now that people are wearing are not restrictive enough that you are breathing in your own carbon dioxide.
Okay.
Like if, for example, if you put on a mask and you spray perfume, air freshener,
you're going to smell it.
You smell it. That means the same way that air is coming in is going out. So you're not, carbon dioxide is actually escaping through the corners, the edges of the mask.
Okay.
What you're doing is you're minimizing your exposure. You're not completely eliminating it.
Okay.
Right? You're minimizing the exposure. Because even with the mask, if you don't practice the hand hygiene and you touch something that someone sneezed or coughed on, and then you rub your nose or you rub your eyes, then the mask was useless, right?
Gotcha.
So what you're doing is you're trying to be smart and minimize your the points of contact.
Okay.
Right. And so with COVID, it's a respiratory transmission. It's transmitted by respiratory droplets. And so we know that prolonged exposure, being in close spaces, a work environment, transportation and buses and trains and so on. And being in those spaces make it more likely that those droplets linger in the air and you inhale them. So at least having the mask is going to give you, the protection you need, from inhaling most of what the particulates are in the air.
Gotcha.
Now, a lot of these masks you have to be careful too because they're not medical grade.
Right.
But some protection is better than no protection. I would say that. And if you're just like transient, if you're just like walking down the street, it's fine to not have a medical grade mask.
Okay.
If you're going to be in close contact, like for me, I have to have a medical grade mask,
right. Because you're a medical professional.
Right. People who are in a large contact with large volumes of people because of work, like transit, officers, EMT, they need a medical grade mask. if you are just like in transient contact, like, you know, you avoid large groups, you just, you know, walk to the store, and you try to socially distance on the sidewalk and all of that, then a regular covering, face covering is fine. Sometimes when I'm home, I wear my bandana, because I know, like, to keep my distance, but also that I'm just, wherever I'm going, it's just going to be like for a quick second. So otherwise you would need really like a prolonged exposure. You need to hang out there, you know, like if I'm inviting people over and I don't know if they're COVID positive, you know, and you're
Right.
hanging out that space, you increase the risk, you know, as opposed to just walking, passing someone on the street that had it.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you're in an open space and you at least have the chance to socially distance, any sort of covering, because the droplets can only travel so far.
Right. Okay.
You know,
Gotcha.
It's not an airborne virus where the particles fly in the air. It's not like tuberculosis where, you know, you cough and then it spreads out like this. It's droplets, so it's like more like
they have weight
this.
to them. They have weight to them.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Exactly. So
okay.
That's why they land on surfaces and stuff. You know, so it's not an airborne transmission thing, which is a lot more dangerous.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank God we're not there.
Thank God we're not there. I said that.
Oh
Lord,
my God.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So we just have to make sure we stay away from people, which I've been doing, and having a face covering just to be safe. Like, and
have a face covering.
If I go out for my walk in my neighborhood, do I need a mask?
No.
Okay.
If you go, I bring one just in case, because if I see a group of people coming towards me, I'll put it on.
Okay.
You know, but if it's gonna be like, you go on I go on my terrace, I don't have my mask on.
Right.
Or if I'm going in front of the building, like if it's an open space, you know, you don't need the mask, but carry one just in case, because you don't know if you have a group of people that end up, you know, occupying the same space as you. You want to be able. So a lot of time, like I walk home from work and I have my mask and I have it off because it's just me on this bridge walking. I feel safe enough to have it off. But if I see anyone coming towards me, then I'll put it on.
Gotcha.
I'll just pull it up. So yeah, if you're in a wide open space, it's just you, it's early morning, you're in the park, you don't need it. But you don't need to wear it, but have it with you just in case.
So does that mean like our summer barbecues and summer parties are canceled this summer?
No.
Really?
Because my birthday is July 19th. Listen, let me tell you something. We're going to do something in the park. You are more than welcome to attend. Oh. But you're not in New York.
I'm not right now, no.
Oh, girl, get in your car and come to New York.
Oh, God.
July 19th.
No.
No, as a matter of fact, no, you don't come because New York numbers are down. Y'all, everyone else's numbers are going up.
I know, it's crazy.
So you stay over there.
It's great. I wasn't coming to your little raggedy party no way, so.
No, but if you're gonna be in a gathering, you know, just remember those same things that we talked about. Have the hand sanitizer. Practice the same way that you would try to prevent getting a cold. Really, is the same way that you have to think about this virus.
Gotcha.
Only this virus is a lot worse than a cold.
Right.
I remember in the beginning, people were saying, "Oh, you just get it, and you know, you'll get over it and everything." It's a lot worse. And I was guilty of that in the beginning too.
Okay.
Because we had such control of our other past situations that I just expected like this would be no different. Like we'll have this under control. So
we're at month 5. I was hearing yesterday. Yeah.
We're at month 5, and how many millions of people who have been affected and who have lost their lives, you know? So my thing is be responsible, try to socially distance. The best thing to do is have outdoor activities.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
As opposed to indoor activities, which is great because it's summer now.
Right.
You know? So a lot of park events, you know, parks are fine. If you can socially distance, go to the beach early. I know you're not going to be the only one there now, but, you know, try to find a spot where you could all be safely distanced from each other.
Okay.
And, you know, because at the same time, you want human interaction is important.
Yeah.
And mental illness, depression, a lot of people are becoming depressed. because of this, and a lot of people are turning to alcohol, drugs, and like I would rather be socially be responsible, be socially distant, but at the same time have that interaction if you need it. That's really key. Get yourself tested.
Okay.
Right now there's like the tests are way more available than they were in the beginning.
Right.
And so if you want to feel safe, get yourself tested, get yourself a coronavirus test and the antibody test.
Okay.
So that way you feel like a measure of, security. And then one thing you could say is you could request that the guests at your event be tested. If I think for the most part, people don't want to get other people sick.
Right.
If you go out there with the intention of getting other people sick, something's wrong with you. But for the most part, we're responsible people who care about each other, especially our loved ones. So I wouldn't have a problem if someone invited me to an event that they were having, say, hey, I just want everyone to get tested to make sure that you're okay and blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Okay.
And tests are readily available. Call 311 and you can find your nearest testing site. It's free. Whether you're insured or not, you won't be charged anything, not even a copay. And so you could always do that also.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I kind of understand the fear that people have, because I'll be honest, it has gripped me too. If you keep watching the news and stuff, it has you afraid to leave the house,
Right.
And so it sounds like if we take all the necessary steps, the hand washing, the wearing of the mask, the social distancing, we should be fine.
We should be, yeah. We'll be fine. Like I said, just treat it like, the same way that you wouldn't want to catch a cold, the same things that you do to try to avoid catching a cold, because it's a virus. And like I said, it is the same family of viruses that cause the common cold. This is just a strain we've never seen and a more severe strain of it. But those same measures, common sense measures, and we'll be fine. And we'll be fine. The virus can't get into the body unless you give it an entry point. So
all the
just remember that
stuff in the face. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. One last question about this, and then we're going to move on to a lighter subject. Although I think we've done a good job of trying to make this, having a joke every now and again through this heavy topic, I think.
I have to, girl.
Yeah. It's real in a matter of minutes, I know.
It gets real.
But the last thing is, does the U.S. have this virus under control?
No, because we haven't seen control from the federal level. So for us to have control, like on the state level, New York has it under control.
Yeah, I applaud Cuomo for all he's done. I think he's.
But we've gone through it. We went through it.
I'm sure. And
so for the U.S. as a whole to have it under control, you need systematic measures throughout.
Yeah.
There's no point in, so I have it under control, but, Connecticut didn't. And so people from Connecticut are coming here, and what happens? They were infecting us, so no, the U.S. doesn't have it under control. New York State has it under control. And we went through the worst of it. At the epicenter of it was here. The beginning of it was here.
Yeah.
Actually, like 15 minutes from where I live in New Rochelle.
Wow.
That was the epicenter. And we saw how the numbers rose exponentially, from one day, every 2-3 days, the numbers were doubling.
Wow.
And it was really scary. It was really scary. But and again, yes, Cuomo did a great job in stepping up and, giving us, comforting us, trying not to scare us.
Yes.
But giving, these are the facts, you know, and let's be practical about this. We could control this, but it takes everyone's cooperation.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, there are other states that are now going through what they're going through. Yeah. And, we all know what we need to do. And it's just a matter of us, had we went and implemented all those measures at the same time and kept it, and we're in unison, then it would be a very different very different outcome. But
Yeah, because I was there during the time when it was when New Rochelle was going on. I was there
mhm,
when all of that was happening,
mhm.
and it was terribly scary. And come to find out, my old roommate actually had COVID, and we didn't know it at the time. She had it in February because she has
Wow. Yeah.
antibodies now, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just it was crazy to be in New York at that time.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah. It
so
was definitely crazy. You
yeah.
know, and hopefully, come this fall, um,
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
we don't really know yet what to expect, but hopefully, maybe we'll have, um, a better idea of treatment. Maybe we'll have, you know, some sort of vaccine by the beginning of next year. So we just have to continue to be vigilant and do what we've been doing.
Should we get a flu vaccine this year? And
Oh, I get my flu vaccine every year
do you
since I
really?
yeah, since I've been since 2006. Actually before that, because I remember when I first got the flu. It was the first and only time I ever got the flu. I had started a new job. I was a medical assistant.
Mhm.
This is like 2002.
Mhm.
And I was going to school. I was going to Hunter, but I had just started a job with Montefiore Medical Center as a medical assistant. It was my second day of work, and I contracted the flu. And I was going to work because I had no sick time. I just started this new job with 103, 102-degree
Woo.
fever, going into work and just laying on the examination table, the bed, because I was just done.
Yeah.
Uh,
The flu's
and
no
from
joke.
then on, from then on, I get the flu vaccine, and people have their opinions about it. I've never had any issues with it. I don't get sick from the flu vaccine. The only thing is, besides a little bit of tenderness at the site where they gave me the injection, I don't get fever, and I haven't gotten the flu since. No, I lie. Earlier this year, I had a mild case because,
Of the flu.
no vaccine is 100%. So
Right.
I did get my flu vaccine, and you have to get it early enough in the season so that your protection
It can
builds
build
up
up.
by the time in the height of the flu season. So I get mine in like around September, late August, September, around there. And I still got it, but it was mild. It
Okay.
wasn't as bad. Nothing like the flu that I first experienced
Yeah.
back then. So I would definitely, I'm like, something, you get the flu vaccine, it's in no way worse than getting the flu. And you
Mhm.
definitely don't want to have the flu and have COVID.
Oh God, that sounds like a death
You
sentence.
definitely don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So get yourself, like I said, I've been getting it for more than 18 years now. I getting the flu vaccine,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of people who are scared of vaccines and so on. And I'm like, well, you really need to be more scared of the food you're eating.
Mm. This
Don't,
is
if
true.
you come to me and you're telling me you don't want no vaccine and you're against this vaccine, so I'm like, I hope you grow your own food then,
Mm.
because you don't know what people are
Mm.
putting in your food and the
You're
food you're
right.
eating every day.
Yeah.
Vaccine is once a year.
Yeah. You're
So I
right.
don't buy it. I'm like, you need to be more. I hope you're eating organic everything and growing your own fruits and vegetables and all of that.
Mm. Yeah, dude, that's a valid
So
point. That's a
yeah,
valid point.
I don't play that. That's how I counter that. Oh, I
Mhm.
don't get no vaccines. They're doing this. Okay. But meanwhile, you going and you getting eating McDonald's and Burger King and all of this.
Tell us how
Don't get
you
me
really
started.
feel.
You got Rhonda Mithcell coming out
I see. I was like, tell us how you really feel, Carolyn.
now.
That's
Oh
just a
God.
perfect segue for us to go ahead and talk about your series. And the sun is just kissing me all over right now. This
Yes, it
it's
is.
a sweet spot in my window.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
but a perfect segue to talk about your show, Rondell. Who's Rondell?
I don't know
Ron
who Rhonda is.
Rhonda Mithcell MD. But before we get into it too deep, I do want to just give people a broad stroke of what Rhonda is, who Rhonda is, and what the show is all about. So Rhonda Mithcell MD is an original web series inspired by a New York City-based physician assistant and screenwriter Carolyn Pierre-Outlar. The series centers on the title character, Dr. Rhonda Mithcell, as she struggles to find balance between her professional and personal life soon after taking over her father's Harlem clinic. But that's not even the best part, y'all. This show is decorated. First of all, it was featured as an original selection in over a dozen film festivals. It won the Peach Theater Award for Best Web Series in 2018 and ranked 8th out of 21 Best Web Series to watch in 2019 by Black Talent TV. This series has been nominated for Best TV or Web Series Episode at the Atlanta Comedy Film Festival, Best Comedy at the Hip Hop Film Festival, Best Web Series at the October Film Festival, and Best Writing at the Everybody Digital Film Festival, founded by the Last OG and Blackish co-star Alan Maldonado. I love me some Blackish. And in 2020, the series was selected as one of the 20 finalists in the Yes and Laughter Lab, a competitive incubator and pitch program founded by the Center for Media and Social Impact and More and Associates, sponsored by Comedy Central and the Pop Collaborative. Whew. All right, I'm going to take a breather after all of that, because Rhonda is just doing her thing.
Rhonda is doing her thing. I'm so proud of this project. And when I first started writing Rhonda it was 2012 when I first started. So, and we didn't release the first season until 2017. So it had been 5 years of us working on this. And at one point, we were in talks with a cable network I will not name, but we were in talks with the cable network.
Okay.
And it was about 6 months of back and forth.
Yeah.
And, nothing ever came of it. And so we went back to our original plan, which was to release it ourselves and shoot it ourselves. And, and it had to get out there. It was bigger than me at that point, because I had, I had already selected the cast. I had, our executive producers were ready to go, director ready to go, whole crew. And it just had to get out there. And it's a labor of love. And we're working on season 3 now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So first of all, where can we find this content? Where can we find Rhonda?
Yeah, sure. Rhonda Mithcell MD is available on YouTube.
Okay.
Go to YouTube, www.youtube.com /Rhonda Mithcell MD, the series.
Okay.
It's also available on AfrolandTV.
Okay.
And on the ON channel.
Okay.
Season 1 can be found on both of those platforms, and season 2 can be found on all of the aforementioned platforms.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay. So we know that you started this. This is based off of your experience as a physician assistant. This is kind of where it all came from, right? Where did the character of Rhonda come from? Is it you? Is it somebody else?
It's me. That's my alter ego. That's
okay.
So when I started taking film courses, I started taking film classes at the local community college, Lehman College. And my instructor is Roderick Giles. Shout out to Roderick, who kept pushing me and introduced me to some great mentors along the way, introduced me to the couple who would end up becoming our executive producers. So he was very instrumental in this getting done. And he told me to write. He was like, write what you know. And your first project, just write what you know. And I was like, well, at that point, I'd been a PA for about 6 years, 5-6 years.
Okay.
And so I decided to write about that and kind of use this character as a way to not only to teach, but to entertain. And I wanted her to be able to do the things that I wish that I could do with some of my patients. You know, it was a great therapy for me. And so, Rhonda is kind of based on me, even though she's an MD, I'm a PA. She's a little bit of she's a little mix of the female doctors that I've worked with, that I've been blessed to work with throughout my career. brilliant doctors, surgeons, OBGYNs, you know, internists, pediatricians. These are their stories.
Okay.
And these are the women that we don't see. So I wanted to kind of pay homage to them, and also put a little bit of myself in there, and how I kind of communicate with my patient, my bedside manner. I feel like my patients love me, but I keep it real with them.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have a filter with them. And I've always been like that. I figure if I'm able to talk to you on your level, you're
Mm-hmm.
more likely to comply and to listen, and to follow recommendations and to understand what I'm saying. So
Mm-hmm.
someone comes in and they're not taking their medication, their blood sugar is 350 and their A1C is 12. I'm like, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. It's just a matter. It's just when.
Oh,
But you're gonna
God.
die, or you may lose some toes and some fingers. Like I really, like I keep it so real with them, and a lot of times they laugh.
Mm-hmm.
They can't believe that their doctor, because they all call me doctor. They can't believe their doctor's talking to them like that. But I'm like, I care, and I'm gonna try to communicate with you in a way that you will understand. And other times, you know, I could get very technical because, you know, patients, there's a spectrum of patients that we see.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some that, you know, haven't finished grade school, you know, or junior high school. So I have to
Mm-hmm.
explain things in a certain way to them. And then there's patients of mine who are college educated and beyond. And
Yeah.
so I could get a little more technical. But so Rhonda is that type of person who, you know, she wants the best for her community and her
Mm-hmm.
patients,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't care what she does to get
Gotcha.
there. She has
Gotcha.
no shame. She has
She
no
really
bounds.
doesn't. And I've seen
Really
some
doesn't.
episodes of the show, and Rhonda really doesn't have any shame.
She really
Um,
doesn't. She
yeah.
really
She
doesn't.
anyway, I'm not gonna
And shout
spoil
out
it.
to Geronda Durham, who does a fabulous job playing Rhonda. Rhonda, I mean, she is just great. Season 2, she was a co-writer and or co-executive producer and
Oh,
directed
nice.
2 episodes of
Nice.
So I'm
Nice.
all about opportunity and trying to get, you know, come on. You know, we had
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
of the other actors also directed episodes. Vanessa Font, who plays her best friend,
Uh-huh.
also directed a few 3 episodes. You know,
Gotcha.
so it's all love, and it's about growth, and it's about family, and it's about Rhonda and getting this stuff out there.
Yes, ma'am. And it's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile watch. So since we're all still in quarantine, I would advise you to go to these platforms that will be listed in the
You.
link below, and watch, because it's definitely worth your time.
Thank you.
Just one last question before I let you go, because I'm sure you have everything else to do. What advice would you give to people who are wanting to create content, and some of the best ways for them to get started?
Mm. There's a lot of online resources now, like Sundance Collab
Mm-hmm.
is a great resource. There's a lot of video, a lot of classes that you could take online to kind of get you started and give you an introduction into filmmaking. Um, just a lot of online research. I mean, when I started, I took classes at my local college, and every borough where I'm from in New York City, there's community access television, and they host low-cost film classes and production classes in the hopes of getting people in the community to come on and produce content for the show,
I love
for
it.
the platform, for the cable networks.
I love it.
And so that's how I started. And I
Okay.
read a whole bunch of books. What I did was I went online. I went online and searched UCLA Film School syllabus.
Mm,
And I read every book that they had listed on their syllabus.
that's a good way.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you got to be crafty, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so, yeah, you could do that. And just there's a whole bunch of podcasts that are great
Yeah.
that talk about filmmaking. Read scripts. Um,
Because you can just Google scripts for even your favorite shows and
Oh
find
yeah.
them like online.
Simply Scripts is one of the websites that I use a lot. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Simply Scripts. Read scripts, and that's as far as with writing and production. You could always Google, production classes, production resources. Like I said, Sundance Collab is great. Um, and there's a lot of information out there. You could always reach out to me on Instagram, and I'm always for supporting other artists.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have someone not supported me.
None of us would be.
So yeah, so I always pay it forward. And
Uh-huh.
so I have a young lady who is part of the writing team for season 3 of Rhonda, who reached out to me last fall and sent me a spec script for Rhonda. And she had written a script on, what she thought the characters of Brian and Rhonda, where she thought, their relationship would go. Like, she took the initiative.
Yeah.
And actually sent me her spec script for Rhonda. And I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. So I said, when we do season 3, I'll bring you on. And I did. And I brought her on. She was at every virtual writer's room with us. And she actually wrote the first episode of season 3. And so it's all about, shout out to Melissa Almanor. Yeah. And she did a great job.
I don't know you, but I'm happy for you, girl.
Yeah.
You have a ride.
So yeah. So it's all about, we each one teach one. And, I'm learning from others, and I'm trying to pass on what I've learned from them to the people behind me. And
I love it.
So yeah, you can always reach out to me too. I'm pretty accessible. Like, if you send me a DM on Instagram, I actually really will respond to you.
I love it.
And I've collaborated with other filmmakers that way, and so yeah. But I would say the biggest tool that I use, Sundance Collab. What else did I say? The Wrap is pretty good. The Wrap has a lot of online videos and stuff.
RAP or WRAP?
WRAP.
Okay.
The Wrap.
Okay, I'll list some of these on the video.
Stage 32. There's a lot of people. That's a great networking site. Stage 32. Yeah, I could definitely. I could send you some stuff. So if you want to add it on to.
Sure. Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, absolutely.
I sure will.
Not Rhonda. Just kidding. Carolyn, it has been a joy having you here today. Thanks for giving us the 411 on the virus, but also it's just been really great talking with you today. I appreciate it so much.
Been fun. It's been fun. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, this has been another episode of Interesting People. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that you guys take care of yourselves and each other.